Well, no, the theme for today is not gratitude. I'm just trying to make myself feel more grateful by putting on this funny hat that was my father's, if you can believe that. Okay, so let's get to the subject of the day, which is expectations. And, I'll go back to, I must have been, I don't know, 10, 11, 12 years old, and E.T. came out. And every single person that I know was like, oh my God, you have to see this movie. It's the most amazing thing. It was so talked up that my expectation of it became so great that I was disappointed. And that to me seems natural, when my expectations, when my thoughts, when what I'm waiting for or anticipating is so big and out here, there's nowhere else to go because the bubble's bursting. It's going to have to like deflate, or I have to be brought back down to the size of normal expectations. This is a problem. This is a problem all over the place, not just with me, with you. It is with what's happening in the world. It's for me and in people I work with, based in, well, this is what I expect about people's behavior. Well, when people do this, it means that and that. And, people bank on this stuff. It's like there's these rules about other people's behavior that are, seemingly accurate, but also people are so married to them and so exclusively tied and adhered to them that they're, as they move through the world and start to look at and bounce off of other people, their expectations aren't necessarily right, true, accurate, or healthy. And in fact, for me, a lot of expectations are based in extreme emotional insecurity and immaturity. So I had this interaction with someone last week where there were a bunch of conversations leading up to a meeting where I could see, there was this great, excitement, and there was a lot of resonant energy that I could certainly feel. But we had had an encounter some time ago that was somewhat unresolved. And so I wanted to get together and hash out some of that difficulty. Well, when we came together, I don't think any of that was on this person's mind. And so right from the get-go, I thought, oh, this is not what I expected. And by the end of the night, I got to hear an earful about how it wasn't the way that that person expected it to be either. And it ended up, funneling or spiraling down into a messy conversation of, no, you did, no, you did, no, I did, no, I wasn't, no, I was, let's get clear, let's not get clear, let's get emotional. And, I just keep going back to the theme was expectations. And of course, I'd like to consider myself to be a responsible person, and I'd never want to think that I created misperception or that I wasn't honest. I certainly don't like what that feels like. I don't want to be irresponsible with other people's feelings, and I hold myself in high regard as far as that measure of my integrity. So, I'm left feeling bad, and I'm also left feeling clear that, the thing proceeded as it was supposed to. Expectations were unclear, conversations and communications didn't get had, and then the results were people were not met or heard. And I can parse that out really pragmatically. And I can also still feel bad about it. Then I'm mutually exclusive. I'm not going to wallow in feelings of being unmet or unheard or feeling bad, nor go into completely pragmatic logic. I'm aiming to be a balanced individual, which means I have logic and I have emotions, and I can sit in and around and dance with either of them. But here's the deal. I'm a unique individual. And this is why relationships, and this is why our current, political divisions are so difficult, is because people have expectations of how it should be. People have rules about how people should be behaving. People are basically super steeped in this is the way it should be. So what if you were to actually examine your expectations of other people? And what if you were to change your mind and stop looking at what you should expect from out there and start looking at what you should expect from in here? Maybe it's not so much about how you think it should be or how I think it should be, and then basing my expectations on that. But maybe it's about getting much, much more clearer about my desires and then trying to meet people on a human to human respectful level. At least that's what I'm aiming for, and that's what I'm trying to work with people about. Because a lot of my work is focused on Gen X, Gen Y, professional women who are super perfectionists. They have a lot of rules, they have a lot of ways it should be. They work really hard. They're highly intelligent, and they're not necessarily balancing you. If you're one of those people, are not necessarily balancing the masculine and the feminine, the logic and the emotion. And that's what I'm here to help people do. And it starts with really looking at your expectations in your career, your expectations of your boss, your expectations of your team, and even your expectations of the family at home if you have one. So that's where we're at. Hopefully that's been helpful. Expectations. Manage them, try and mature them up a little bit, open your mind, communicate more, recognize your expectations are based on your own perceptions, and not everyone's going to meet him, and it's just going to have to be okay, even though it doesn't feel so good. So happy Monday, everybody. Thanks for joining me for a little bit of time. Hope you have a great day.